folks? It's your man JQ. It is Geeked Out right here on Deaf Talk Radio. It is Wednesday. And this is my man Chandler.
I've lost track of what day it is. Oh
It's
my
so
God!
Weird. So it's been.
Which coast am I on?
You're on the coast of Chandler. That's what you're on right now.
Holy Toledo! I've literally been playing a ping pong ball between East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West.
You must be exhausted.
So anyway,
that's why we took a little bit of time before coming back, because I think we had a chance last week to do a quick show, but I said no. Let's relax for a little bit, because I know you've been bouncing all over the place. So as you guys can see, we got a lot of show and tell stuff here. A lot of comic books, a lot of good stuff happening. A lot's happened in the last month. Like I know, like, okay, so I think before this show, I think the last thing we were really hyped about was the whole Powers of X House of 10 Powers
which
of
has
10.
now come to a conclusion.
It's finally come to a conclusion.
And what did it end up bearing? It ended up bearing
X-Men
#1
and Marauders
and a whole pony load of more titles that are going to come out as a result.
So did you actually finish up the series?
I haven't had a chance to.
Oh,
Heck,
man.
I haven't even had a chance to catch up on Superman Year One, which came out last week.
Oh yeah. There it is.
You know, which is the conclusion of the series, and you know, I've been championing that. So
yeah. It's been a great series. I've been reading it. So.
Yeah, it's
only 3 issues.
It left off with some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And you just saw a panel.
Oh, that was
that's in issue 3.
Shout out to J.R. Jr. Shout out to John Romita Jr. for throwing down such a nice piece of artwork there.
John, and it was funny because I was actually, while I was in Baltimore, I had a chance to talk to several creators who are very well respected in this industry. And they've all worked with John at one point or another. Mm-hmm. And they've all pretty much said John is at the top of his game right now. He is cranking out some of his best work ever. And actually, he did several interviews at San Diego, and one of them was with Diamond Preview.
Okay.
And Diamond Preview, they have their YouTube show and everything. And what they did was they interviewed John for, I want to say, probably close to between 45 minutes and an hour. And what they did was they broke that interview up into 3 different segments. And segment 1 came out, I want to say, it was probably about like a month after San Diego happened. And then segment 2 just came out yesterday. Yeah. And segment 1 talked about 9/11. And then segment 2 talked about basically stuff that, talked about John when he did his work with on Daredevil, when he did his work on several other titles over at Marvel, not even getting into his DC work yet.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's, this finishes up Superman Year One, and from what I understand, there's talk in the rumor mill of a follow up to this.
Oh, nice.
So,
Superman Year 2.
I don't know what they'll call it. But it will be a Frank Miller, John Romita Jr. book.
That's awesome.
So,
do you know if they really like still working on this format, the size?
Oh yeah, well, DC announced, I want to say, I think it was 2 years ago, if I remember correctly, that they were going to start it's called the Black Label, which is this label right here.
Gotcha. I see
the
it.
DC Black Label.
Yep.
And what it is it basically is supposed to be a little bit more mature story. Stuff that they can really get into and that they can expand upon, and you saw that with Batman. There was the Damned issue the Damned book that came out, or the Damned series that came out in Superman Year One. There's now there's a Harley Quinn one that's out right now under the Black Label, so they're kind of using that. I don't know if you remember Marvel back several years ago. They had kind of an imprint that was supposed to be a little bit more mature, a little bit more adult type of
I think the
stuff.
last thing that I remember that was like that was oh god, I don't know about a few years ago, but I remember in the '90s there was like Ghost Rider, Daredevil, Punisher. They all had their what was it called, like Midnight Suns or something like that.
Something like that.
Something
Yeah,
like
but
that.
so this is similar to, DC's doing a similar thing with the Black Label, and so that's but also part, as you can see, is they're going with the oversized book, the
Yeah.
magazine style size book,
Mm.
which that kind of created a problem for John. I shouldn't say problem. That created a challenge for John because here it is, DC sent him the art boards to start working on, and John's looking at these art boards going, these things are 4 times the size of what he was used to.
Yeah.
I mean, these things were like that big.
Really?
And he's like trying to figure out how he's going to put it on his table to work. And
That's crazy.
while he said at first it was intimidating, but it was also invigorating because it really allowed him to really get into putting he could put in a lot of
Detail.
detail
Yeah,
into it
yeah.
without it feeling smashed.
That's cool.
And so and I think again that's maybe why he's really kind of hit a stride. Is so he's able to do that kind of detail work, especially in his storytelling.
Yeah, I mean, considering that, like for an artist, speaking from my point of view, when we do books, it's usually we start with the 11 by 17 board, and then shrink it down. So,
Yeah.
but then I mean, you're saying that you like John had like,
This
huge-
this thing, my understanding is this thing was probably like 40 inches by 30 by 40, something like that.
which is probably why that panel like his favorite panel was probably why that came out so well.
He was, he was, and he talked about how there were certain panels where he just, when he started working on it, he's like, oh my God, I have all this space to be able to fit something into, and how he could really, excuse the expression, dive into it, do what he does best.
Yeah.
Tell some terrific stories. And
Yeah.
Again, talking to some of the different people that I was talking to the last couple of weeks, whether I was in New York or whether I was in Baltimore, some top-notch creators who all have worked with John at one point or another. And it's he's like I said, he's right now he's hit this stride where he's doing absolutely fantastic stuff.
That's awesome. So, as I said earlier, you brought in a lot of nice little show and tell stuff. We're going to talk about this later. I can see there's like here we got Year of the Villain, and I to be honest, I haven't followed what DC's been doing with this Year of the Villain, but I'm guessing that they're just doing books on villains from their point of view.
Yep.
And you can see here Black Adam by John Romita Jr. also. That's awesome. Metal Men. So now this book, who is on this? Who did the art for this? I don't recognize the signature, but look at that, great stuff. We got Symbiote, Hulk, and Venom, and obviously the X-Men books and the Marked. And I brought my this is from my own personal collection that Chandler brought over. This just got graded and it's finally back to me, so I'm happy, and I'm going to go ahead and display this in my house somehow. Anyways, you know what? Let's take a quick break, and when we get back, let's just play catch up. Let's talk about all these little good things. We got House of X, Powers of X to catch up on, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So, guys, stick around. When we get back, all that and more. We are back, folks. It is Geeked Out right here on Dovetail Radio, Dovetail TV. And yeah, so as I said earlier, before our long break of a month, I think one of the big things that we talked about a lot of was Powers of X or Powers of 10 and House of 10.
Basically, the X universe.
The X universe.
The X universe. And Jonathan Hickman was just knocking out of the
park.
park.
My God.
Just knocking out of the park with what he went with. And, what it did was it set up what Marvel has decided to do, and that is I want to kind of say this is similar to what they did back in the 90s with the Chris Claremont Jim Lee series, where they kind of just decided, okay, we're going to go back to square one. But in this case, it's going back to square one with the changed universe.
Oh yeah, he's totally changed the status quo for the whole X universe.
This kind of really opens it up for creative teams to go in directions. And unfortunately I haven't had a chance to talk to Chris Claremont yet about this and what his feelings are. And I'll be really curious to see his feedback on this, because obviously it's his universe.
Yeah, he is the Godfather.
He is
the Godfather. So I think where we left off, where did we? I think we had like maybe two issues left in each series.
No, we were down to the last issue
was it
of
the
each
last
one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, you were totally geeking out.
Yeah.
On what you saw, like one or two panels in what was the last issue of House of X, and you were like, as a matter of fact, we had to call in the janitor service because there was so much drool on the ground. You were just drooling over it.
Yes, definitely.
And at the same time, you go, "Don't tell me! I want to read it."
Dude.
So.
Oh my God! So spoiler alert. Because obviously a lot of stuff has already happened, so I'm just going to get into it. As we stated before, Jonathan Hickman basically changed the status quo for the X-Men, and a lot of it is based around Moira McTaggart. Strangely enough, he went in and brought her character out to the point where, because previously, before this whole series started, Moira McTaggart was basically just a human that was helping out the mutants. She was like a mutant geneticist, or like she really she studied mutants a lot. So, but what we didn't know, apparently, according to Jonathan Hickman, is that she is a mutant also. She had
a what do you call it? She was
retconned, or whatever they want to say.
Kind of a hidden mutant.
Yeah.
And to a certain degree, it's funny because the best way to describe it is, at least in my opinion, is take the movie with
Groundhog Day.
Take the movie Groundhog Day and put it in the X-Men universe, and voila, that's what you end up having. Because she was able to experience life, and then something would happen to her, maybe even self-induced.
Yeah.
And guess what? She gets reborn, but she gets reborn with the memories of what she had already gone through. And I don't know about you guys, but I have these fantasies all the time of, if I was able to go back in time, essentially reborn, and go, okay, so Chandler, in the mid '80s, you want to make sure that you're going to buy that AOL stock when it first gets offered. You're going to buy that Amazon stock when it first gets offered. You're going to go and buy copies of Amazing Spider-Man #1 when you can pick them up for $100 a pop.
Yeah.
And what you're going to do is you're going to sit on them with the intention you're going to sit on them for 10 to 20 years, and then you're going to retire filthy rich.
Filthy rich, yeah. So, like I said, Moira McTaggart was basically the center of the whole thing, because with her power, she's able to see the future. Well, not really see the future, experience the future, and bring that memory back to the past. So
she was able to figure out what didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. So going all the way up until issue 5 of each series, they kind of the way that Jonathan Hickman did it was he listed it as each life. So they gone through 5 different lives with her, right? Or I think it was like 5, and then they had the question mark, which was her last life. Her last life. I don't know if she was only limited to 6 lives. Maybe she can go back and do another one, but I think that's the sixth one, which is the sixth issue, is where they kind of figured it out all out, right? So, spoiler alert again. In the very last issue of both House of X and Powers of X, or House of 10, Powers of 10, it's basically her and Wolverine. They're the last 2 mutants left. And by this time, the humans have they've kind of evolved into like a half human, half mechanical robotic race, kind of like the phalanx, right? And for the human side, it was always going to be about taking the humans and mutants, just joining together and then becoming one with the phalanx. Well, I forgot what the term that they use, but definitely being like a hive mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Moira was like, "Oh my God, we no matter what we did, we still lost. We still lost, right?" So at the very last issue, she goes, it's like, Wolverine, you know what to do. Wolverine takes the claws, digs it into her. She goes back. Now she goes back and she tells Professor X, what's going on, and it's like, as hard as we fought, we weren't gonna win. But Professor X being who he is, Xavier being who he is, he said, "You know what? I'm gonna keep that in the back of my head, but I'm gonna have these people keep on fighting for who we are." So he knows they're gonna lose, regardless of what happens in the future. But he's still gonna have the mutants fight the good fight. So it's weird. I've seen already like some pictures from Lineal who's doing who's already doing X-Men. I think it's a cover for issue number 2, and it's Xavier, Magneto, and Apocalypse in business suits. In business suits, walking to what I think is the UN. So,
okay, I can kind of picture. I can definitely picture Xavier, and I can definitely picture Magneto, but Apocalypse in a business suit.
Yeah, hold on. Let me pull. You're gonna laugh when you see this. I'm gonna pull this up real quick. There you go, Lineal U. Boom. It looks like they're walking into like the UN. I'll pop that up on the screen so you guys can see it. Funny, right?
Crazy stuff.
I don't know. I think now they've kind of. I think what they've settled on is that the mutants are all together, which is what they've always wanted, right? And they're not fighting each other. There's no civil war. There's no unrest. It's basically we've got to preserve our race for the future, right? Which is great. So now, where does this take us? Like as far as storyline wise, who are their antagonists? Who's gonna join the fight with the mutants? It's
well, now you truly have the mutants against humans.
Yeah.
You don't have as you said, you don't have the mutants fighting each other.
Yeah.
So it's you no longer have the advantage of the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of situation.
Yeah.
Because there is no enemy of my enemy being my friend. It's you and your enemy. That's it.
Yeah. One of the plot devices that they brought up in the series, both series, is that Krakoa, that the island nation that they created, that they're living on, created medication for humans. Now we don't know who took it, who didn't take it, who's fighting it.
Rumor has it there were some people that couldn't take it.
Oh. See, I didn't hear that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear that. So,
but yeah, we'll have to see.
We'll have to see. So yeah, definitely. The series itself, guys. If this is a book that you want to pick up, or a series that you want to pick up before you start diving back into the whole new X-Men world, is obviously with X-Men #1, Marauders. They have Excalibur. I think New Mutants is another one of the titles.
Yeah,
and then X-Force. Guys, pick it up and read it before you read all this stuff, because it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. All right, so enough about that. Let's get into what else we got here. So you brought in this. I've never seen this before. The Marked.
Yeah, apparently my understanding is the story revolves around a bunch of kids who actually have markings on their bodies that are like magical hieroglyphics, and they're able to use it to do certain things, but then you end up coming across one that because of the markings, it creates a bad situation, and suddenly it puts them into an uncomfortable situation. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
So yeah, this itself is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and you can see there really cool artwork. And I see Van Dyke. I don't know who that is, but this. Oh my God! Like I'm looking at the illustration and how deep they got into the tattoo of this person. But if you look on the back here, there is a tattoo sleeve. So if you don't have tattoos and you want to go ahead and pretend like you do, you open that up, and who knows? I know it's probably going to devalue it a little bit, but whatever. You take this out, put it on, and you got a tattoo sleeve. Speaking of weird additions for this, did you know? So when Powers of X, or I don't know if it's Powers or House, one of them, like some retailers were giving out packets of seeds.
Huh?
Yeah.
It what?
Packets of seeds. It's branded X-Men or House of 10, Powers of 10, whatever. And it's supposed to be, because I think in the first book you see the flowers that Krakoa creates. It's supposed to be an actual flower. So the seeds that they give out are actual seeds. Yeah, I know it's crazy, but
marketing, branding.
All right, so we got again Black Adam.
Well, DC has announced that they're doing their villains run, just like they've had their heroes runs.
Yep.
Now they're turning their eye on the villains, and they're giving the villains all the exposure. So in this case, you're looking at Black Adam, and I don't know if you saw the announcement about Black Adam.
What?
The Rock.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That's
It's kind of old news, but
yeah.
It was.
But they haven't made a formal announcement yet, right?
Actually, I think they are now starting to. They're talking about starting production.
Oh wow!
Within the next year or so.
That's gonna be
something like that.
Kind of awesome.
So part of it was you had The Rock who signed on to play the title role, and originally that character was supposed to be in Shazam, and then
like make a cameo, right?
Huh?
He was supposed to make a cameo, right, or something like that.
Yeah, and they decided not to. They wanted to keep him for his own piece. And then there's been talk of, will he show up in Shazam #2? We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, we have The Rock cast as Black Adam.
That's gonna be awesome. He looks. I mean, think about it. Remember the Scorpion King?
Uh-huh.
Like that would be the kind of like I can picture him because what was the name of the fictional place that Black Adam's from? Like Kandahar? Is that the name? Do you remember?
I think so.
So totally, I can totally picture him like that. Anyways, moving right along. So Metal Men basically, it kind of rebooting itself as going back to the original series that was out years ago. Yeah, look at that.
So DC's decided to bring, let's just say, dust a couple of old books off and repurpose them.
Yeah, I mean, I remember as a kid in the '80s seeing Metal Men on the, remember the old rotating shelves, like at the convenience stores, the metal racks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing Metal Men, picking up a book and just being totally like, "Oh, this is so cool! And they can do everything."
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they're kind of brought them back, because I haven't seen them in a book for a long time.
That's what I'm saying. It's been they've been up on the shelf for a while.
Yeah. So excited, definitely excited to see that. And then we have the Hulk here. Carnage
and Absolute Carnage just keeps on ripping it up.
I got to be honest. I haven't followed any of it since like the whole X-Men thing started.
Oh well,
So
you have the Venom Carnage thing going on, and we'll talk a little bit more about Carnage and Venom a little bit later
oh
on
yeah,
in the show. We have
definitely.
some cool things to talk about. But yeah, this is in this case is this is everyone's worst nightmare, and that is Hulk
With the symbiote.
with symbiote. Yes,
Yep.
exactly. And it's like, oh Lord, look
Here we go.
out! Yep, Hulk smash,
Oh my God. Yes.
smash big time.
Yeah. I haven't. I remember when Carnage and Venom and all of them came out in the late '80s, early '90s, and I was just all about those characters. It's crazy. And then like fell off for a little bit, and I found out that there's like a white symbiote. There's a couple other ones like an anti venom, and I don't know. I totally lost track. I'm like, what is going on? So now I guess it's just spiraling into this whole thing where it's taken over a part of the universe, right? Now, is this in the 616 universe, or is this considered like an alternate universe?
That I couldn't tell you.
Okay, so we'll
That
definitely
I'm,
have to.
that I'm not 100% sure. So,
We'll definitely have to catch up with that
Yeah.
sometime.
yeah.
And I brought, and then I'm going to show this again. This is a pretty
Proud
book.
baby.
My proud baby.
Okay. Okay.
Anyways, so and then obviously we got Superman.
Superman
Issue
Year
number
1, Issue 3, which concludes the 3-part story that was written by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr.
Under the
and
DC
then drawn
Black.
by John. John just he just knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
This is some of his best work.
Under
So,
under the DC Black label line.
Yep.
And
Black Label line, and like I said, they've got some other projects that they now have a Harley Quinn book that's
Yeah.
under the Black Label line,
yeah.
and they're going to continue to go in that direction to try to maybe modernize and give it a little more adult flavor to it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like I when I see Black Label, I don't even think about comics. I think of like Johnny Walker Black. Like the classier, line of like even the clothing lines. Like Ralph Lauren has their purple line, right, or a purple label. So, but yeah, show them like go to that one panel that there you go, there it is.
This is John's favorite panel, and it is Superman has his hands on Batman, who then Superman is grabbed by Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, hello there.
Yep. That's an awesome panel.
Yeah. So that was, and I mean, you look at that. You look at that. Basically, is almost a full double page spread.
Yeah.
So that was just huge. And you can go into looking at the background with the city and everything, and all the detail that went into it. It was fun stuff for him. He had a good time. Basically, Frank gave him 15 pages of story, and John created 200 pages of art.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, he just it's interesting because I've had a chance to talk to a couple of different people. One of the people I ironically talked to while in Baltimore was Tom King.
Okay.
And for those that aren't aware, John jumped on to Batman. Tom is winding down his run on Batman, and it's the Bane story arc and everything.
Yeah.
City of Bane, and so basically, DC threw John on there for issue 80 and 81. And Tom says, it was a lot of fun working with John because he knew he could just give John a certain amount of information and John would take it from there.
Yeah.
John is basically the old school Marvel style of comic book creating, which last about a week and a half ago I was sitting down with Jerry Conway. I was at his house and signing books and stuff, and we were chatting, and He actually brought that up. We were talking about the difference between Marvel and DC, and one of the things that Jerry was talking about was Marvel. Stan Lee created a style of creating comic books that became known as the Marvel style of comic books. And what that was basically the editors would come up with the basic storyline. They wouldn't even have to get into details of verbiage or anything like that. But what they did was they pretty much, the normal standard was that you'd have the writer and the artist, and the editor sometimes would come into Stan's office. Now, bear in mind, Stan, being the animated person he was, he's trying to tell a little bit of the story. So Stan was known for climbing all over the furniture. I mean, he'd jump up and down on the furniture. He'd get in the Spider-Man pose and the whole bit. And Jerry was actually laughing about some of that. But what the key thing was that what Stan and the writers did was they trusted their artists. They trusted Jack Kirby. They trusted Steve Ditko. They trusted John Buscema. They trusted Gene Colan. I mean, all these phenomenal artists, they trusted them in their ability to tell the story. So what they did was they gave them the basics of the storyline, and then they let the artist go in and start laying down the story. And you had John Romita Sr., who was part of that group, and John was a phenomenal storyteller. And then John Jr., growing up in that, just ended up being the epitome of that style. John Jr. became just the phenomenal storyteller he is. And it was interesting. What brought this whole subject up, though, was at Los Angeles Comic Con, we were given the opportunity and the honor of working with Michael Uslan.
Okay.
And basically, for those of you that don't know who Michael is, Michael owns the Batman rights to all Batman movies. He bought the rights from DC. I believe this is before Warner Brothers got on board, but he bought the rights to Batman back in the, I want to say, mid-'80s, if I remember correctly. And then he ended up producing the very first Batman movie, which was one with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
And just that first movie. And every movie since then, he has been involved either as an executive producer or producer on the film, whether it's live action, whether it's solo, whether it's animated, whether it was Batman just making a cameo. So Michael's been involved with that. Well, he was invited to the con in L.A., and Desert Wind was asked to work with him and help him with the signings and stuff. To make a long story short, we had dinner, had a wonderful time, and Michael and I started talking. We were talking about the difference between the Marvel Universe and the DC Universe, the cinematic universe. And part of what Michael said is, he says, the reason why the Marvel Universe is so much better than the DC Universe is because you had one singular mind basically building that universe in Stan Lee.
Yeah.
While Stan didn't necessarily write every single piece, but he was there to be able to, okay, well, we want to connect this, we want to connect that, and he was able to basically build this universe, and with his way of thinking. Versus DC, you had, whether it was Carmine Infantino or whether it was any of the other publisher editors in chiefs that worked at DC from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And so you didn't have a common mind. You had all these different minds, and everyone had their own opinions, which is one reason why you will never see the DC characters having the continuity with other characters in the universe like you do it over at Marvel. And so that's what brought up the whole subject. And when I mentioned that to Jerry absolutely agreed with that. And that's when he talked about the Marvel style of writing and the Marvel style of creating books. So, that's basically, growing up with that universe is one of the reasons why he's become the artist that he has and the storyteller he has. That's the long, drawn-out story of John Jr. and Superman Year One.
Awesome. All right, so let's now we've done all this good stuff. Let's play catch up because we've we've been away for about a month. So
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, how many shows have you done? One a week, right? Since
Basically, we started off. We started off with New York Comic Con, and New York Comic Con was New York Comic Con. It was insane. They're just you had everyone was there. It was a phenomenal show, crazy show. I don't know how else to describe it. Free survived it.
That's always been like a crazy, like it's up there. Like the way you guys talk about New York.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll drag you next year, and and then I figure you'll react one of two ways. Either you'll go, "Oh my God, I got to go again," or "No, leave me alone, leave me alone, curse you, no, keep away from me." That was because it's gonna be one or the other.
Yeah,
I'm not joking. I've actually had people quit on me after day 2 at New York Comic Con because they just could not handle the intense structure of the show. New York is different than San Diego. San Diego is actually a little bit longer. It's a half a day longer than New York. But San Diego, you're talking about West Coast versus East Coast. West Coast, people are more laid back.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, West Coast, San Diego, I hate to say it this way, but San Diego has become a very elitist type of show at this point. You have a lot more emphasis on the other medias tied into San Diego as you do at New York. Not to say that they don't have it at New York. They do. But I don't think as much as they do at San Diego. And the biggest reason is, let's face it, San Diego, you have Hollywood literally right up the road.
Yeah.
Versus New York, Hollywood's on the other coast.
Yeah.
So, but also you have the difference between people. You have East Coasters and West Coasters. I mean, East Coasters in the sense of New Yorkers, they're they are the way they are. There's parts of them I love and parts of them I'm just kind of like, ugh.
Hey, living there for about 5 years, I know. I know.
So from that respect, New York was typical New York Comic Con, fast paced, crazy, and lots of fun. Came back from that, or actually right after that, we then signed with John Romita Sr. And we also signed with Joe Sennett, and went up and saw both. I went up and saw Joe Sennett. Went over and saw John Sr. And Sharon and I actually did not get out of New York until Thursday after the con. We were supposed to leave on Tuesday, and then we postponed our flight till Wednesday because we just had too much work to do.
Yeah.
But because of other issues, we ended up having to take a first flight out Thursday morning.
Oh wow!
At 6 a.m., which means we had to be at the airport at 4 a.m. in the morning, which means we had to get up at the hotel at 3, and I got to bed at 2.
Oh God!
So I got 1 hour of sleep before we had to get up and go to the airport. And I slept on and off on the plane because we had a connection through Nashville. So it's kind of like, you get a nap, 45-minute nap here, 30-minute nap there type of thing. Got home 11 o'clock in the morning, Las Vegas time, enough time for me we dropped Sharon off at her work, and then Ray and I ran to the office, unpacked everything. Then we had to repack everything because at 7 o'clock that night, Sharon and I drove down to L.A. for L.A. Comic Con.
Wow.
Now, I did get a 3-hour nap in there.
Yeah.
I did get a 3-hour nap. But, it was, we drove down Thursday night for L.A. Comic Con. We set up the show Friday morning, and L.A. Comic Con started at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Friday afternoon, and went until Sunday.
Yeah.
And L.A. Comic Con, we had John Jr. there. And real quick, digressing real quick with New York. New York, we had Larry Lieber in our booth on Friday.
I saw that.
We had John Jr. in our booth on Saturday, and we had Tom DeFalco in our booth on Sunday. A lot of fun. But I got to tell you, I'll tell you the person that really surprised me, Larry Lieber, knocking it out of the park. He was doing some amazing head sketches for Larry.
Yeah.
You know, considering what I'd seen him do the previous years, he was cranking out some great head sketches for a man who's 87 years old.
Yeah.
You know, they were pretty darn good. But anyway, so he was there, like I said, on Friday. John Jr. was there on Saturday. And then Tom DeFalco came by on Sunday. And we had all kinds of other people dropping in. Bob Layton dropped in. And, you know, it's to a certain degree, when you have that kind of talent at your booth, it just has a tendency to cause other talent to just kind of gravitate to come over and see what's going on and say hi and the whole bit. So now fast forward back to Los Angeles again. We had John, basically we were there with John the whole weekend. And then, like I said, we had Michael in the booth on Saturday. And then Sunday was interesting because, like I said, we had our business meeting with Michael Saturday night. Sunday night, John and I went to have a meeting with the Legion M group.
Okay, yeah.
Legion M is they're basically, the best way to describe it is they're a fan-based media group. If you ever wanted to own a film studio, media studio, that's how you do it. It's through Legion M. You could actually buy stock through Legion M in the company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you could buy stock through Legion M, and you would own part of this company. I believe they were responsible for the new Silent Bob.
Really?
The Kevin Smith movie that came out. I believe they were very much involved with that, the production of that. But so once the show was over with on Sunday, John and I were supposed to have another business meeting with them. And ironically, there was a gentleman who was there at the meeting, because it was also a dinner. John Millis.
John Millis. I'm not familiar with the name.
You ever hear of a film called Apocalypse Now?
Really?
How about Dirty Harry? How about Magnum Force?
Wow.
How about Clear
I've
and
heard
Present Danger?
Heard of all
this
those.
guy is an award. he's a Academy nominated writer, director, and producer.
Yeah.
And those are just a few of the films that he was involved in, either as a writer or director. And so he was actually there, and having a chance to meet him, it was kind of cool. So
that is
the LA
cool.
show kind of definitely had its media side of it for us, besides the comic stuff. So it was a good show. We stayed busy with that. And then we came back home, and 3 days later we left for Baltimore.
And how was Baltimore?
This past weekend. Baltimore was Baltimore. Though I admit, unfortunately for Baltimore, there was some bad planning, and I don't think it was the case of the Baltimore promoters, but I want to say more like the city people, because
really,
they had a marathon.
Oh,
they had a marathon going on Saturday, and sure enough, part of the marathon had the runners going right past the convention center. So they had to cordon off the streets around the convention center. We had one person that was trying to help us, and it took him 2.5 hours for him to finally find his way to a parking structure that he was able to park at, and then walk to the convention center, and having to deal with all the roadblocks and everything else. So, it's kind of like, okay, I'm sorry, Baltimore city officials, you have one of your biggest conventions of the year, Baltimore Comic-Con, taking place, and someone decides, you want to have a marathon, that's fine, but to have it go right in front of the convention center, really?
Wait, I think it happened. I think that happened in L.A. too.
It might have.
like a couple years ago.
Yes, I think I think I remember.
Or was
that
it like
as well.
last year? I think it was
it's
last
like,
year.
someone please explain to me that logic. Does it take an idiot to figure this stuff out?
You know what it is? It's usually just a different department not talking to another department.
Absolutely.
That's probably what it is.
Absolutely.
That's definitely what it is.
So anyway, so that was Saturday, and then Sunday, unfortunately, got hit with some rain, so it was a little wet, and that always puts a damper on a comic book convention, because for those of you that don't quite get it, this stuff is made out of paper, and paper, when it gets wet, kind of becomes a little mushy. So paper and water don't mix well together. So anyway, and then Monday we drove down and signed with Sal Buscema.
Oh, cool.
And saw him, chatted with him, spent a little bit of time with him, caught our plane and flew back home late Monday night, and got home like 1 o'clock in the morning, Tuesday morning, and back in the office last night.
And you slept a little bit. I would imagine.
Trying to. I'm still on East
That's why.
Coast
That's why I said a little bit.
I'm still. Yeah, I really got. It was really weird. I really got screwed up in the L.A. because I was a lot more on the East Coast time, because we were on the East Coast for a little bit more than a week.
Yeah.
And so my body had truly gotten acclimated to East Coast time, and then boom, coming to the West Coast. And then going back to the East Coast, and that's why I jokingly said, man, I was ping-ponging.
Yeah.
Wow. So, but con-wise, it was great. Some of the all three cons, loved them. Looking forward to them next year. Got the dates marked. Baltimore, I believe, is going to stay in late October. New York is going to keep its normal time. And LA Comic-Con is moving back into the latter part of September.
Cool. Wow. Busy.
Yeah.
Busy. And you know what this all leads us up to?
Great American Comic-Con.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right, so what do we got planned for Great American Comic-Con 2019?
Oh, boy. Well, we as far as our guest list, we have a few guys coming out. But what's been fun is putting together, and it's not like we planned on doing this the way it happened, but we invited David Michelinie to come out. Yeah. And then we invited Mark Bagley to come out. And immediately you had the Spider-Man 361 team right there. And David writing 361, Mark. And for those that don't know what 361 is, first introduction of Carnage.
Yes.
And so, that started the whole Carnage thing. Then we ended up bringing in Al Milgram. And at that point, it's kind of like, well, it's funny because David and Mark and Al all worked on Venom, the Lethal Protector, which was a really hot book that came out years ago. And there was only one person missing from that. And that was, at least for issue 1, that is. And that is Sam De La Rosa. So basically, and it was weird because I'd asked Sam earlier in the year if he wanted to come out. And he says, hey, I'd love to, but I'm already committed to another show. Yeah. Well, lo and behold, we're at Baltimore. And Sam comes walking up to me and says, hey, I'm the show that I was supposed to be at canceled. So I'm sorry, it was L.A. It was L.A. Comic-Con. He walks up to me and says, the show I was supposed to be at same weekend as your show is canceled. Is that offer still open? Oh, well, yeah, Sam, sure, we'd love to. Yeah. And now we have the whole creative team of Venom,
That's awesome.
Lethal Protector coming out.
That is awesome.
With that, it's actually gotten a lot of attention from people. But so we have those guys. Let's see. We also have Craig Kyle come out, who's the co-creator of X-23.
Oh, cool.
We have Kevin Van Hook, co-creator of Bloodshot.
Nice. With the movie coming out?
Yeah. Which I don't know if you saw the trailer that just came out. So, and I'm sure Kevin's going to be bringing he's going to be bringing some stuff. Yeah. To have to do with Bloodshot, and he'll be talking about Bloodshot. But let's see. Phenomenal artist right now who's just cranking out some absolutely wonderful covers. Clayton Crane.
Oh, yeah.
Got Clayton Crane coming out. Tom Grummett
Oh,
who,
nice.
Tom has just done a huge body of work.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Al Milgram, Tom and Al. There was that period of time where they were the go-to artist for whether it was interior or whatever.
See, I remember Tom even before when like I've seen like I remember his art because his art's very distinct, and I remember seeing his stuff in the indies before he like got into the big leagues. So
Yep.
he's been around for a while, man.
Yep. So he'll be coming out. Todd Knock is coming out.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
Todd.
Love that guy.
Todd's a West Coaster.
Yeah.
Obviously, people love him and know him from Batman. I'm not Batman, from Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yep.
But Todd's worked on a ton of other stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to think here. I know I have a couple of others.
Is Alan coming back? Alan Billman?
He's not coming back this year.
Oh, okay.
Part of that, honestly, that's a lot of that is me in the sense that Alan had been to our last two shows, and I don't really want to have the same guest coming back year after year after year for year because I think, number one, for them it doesn't do much justice. Once they've been here for like 2 years in a row, at that point, and people have gotten their stuff signed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, what I did was I pretty much at that point kind of made a policy that I want my guests to come back. I want them to have a good experience.
So you spread them out.
So I spread them out.
Yeah.
I spread them out. But let's see here. So like I said, we have. So we already talked about Mark Bagley. We have Carl Potts coming out.
Oh, nice.
And Scott Hanna.
Nice.
Scott Hanna.
Got some great ones there.
For any of you that know Spider-Man Volume 2, Issue 36, which is commonly known as the World Trade Center issue, he's going to be there. Let's see here. Alex Saviuk, who's a Spider-Man artist, coming out. And that's pretty much. We have a few more. We have a few more creators that may be coming out. We're still working on a couple of last minute particulars.
Gotcha.
And let's just say I have a few invitations out that have not been no, but haven't been yes yet.
Gotcha.
So and these would be big names. So we'll have to see what happens.
It's gonna be exciting.
It is.
I can't wait.
And ironically, this year, especially this is a little more exciting for Sharon and I. Our exhibitor floor in Artist Alley sold out.
Nice.
We're in a sold out status right now. As a matter of fact, we've actually sold more booths and tables than what we have available. And we're in a situation where we do have some people who have not paid their bills yet, and we've said you got until a certain date to pay your bill, otherwise you lost your spot.
Yeah.
So if any of you out there have not paid your bill and you see this, you better pay your bill because otherwise your spots could be given to someone.
You're gonna show up as a visitor, not a worker.
Exactly. But also we have several radio stations that are going to be
cool.
They're going to be picking up and talking about the show, and we may be doing some interviews with them. So you'll be hearing about us on through the radio station. CW once again is supporting us.
Awesome.
And you're going to see CW running some promotions.
Very nice. So, I actually saw. What did I see? I saw something on Facebook. I think it was KNTV. No. So I saw somebody posted a Great American Comic Con thing. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yep. So it's starting to pick up steam.
Yeah.
Starting to pick up steam.
Oh, I can't wait. It's what you got.
You'll be there. I hope you have your sketches ready.
Oh, I'll definitely have my sketches ready. As long as I have my 16 feet table. Just kidding. You spoiled us, man. Because like last year we each had 16 feet.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was a blur to me.
But it was definitely an amazing.
But I figure you're gonna be a busy little beaver because not only are you gonna be at your table, but
I gotta be doing some interviews.
Be doing some interviews and stuff. I mean, we're gonna be able to create some content for you guys out there watching this show.
Yep, awesome. So yeah, that's a lot, and I'm gonna be ready for it because I missed out on LA unfortunately because I had work over here to do, and last minute I was like,
That's what I heard. That I guess it was that same job you were at a couple of weeks earlier or something like that.
I've lived at Binion's for like the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So
you gotta be careful how you say that.
I know.
Living at Binion's.
I know.
Okay.
It sounds weird, but yeah, that's the project. I mean, we've basically wrapped it up just recently. So, anyways, let's go ahead and take our last break, and when we get back, we're going to wrap up the show, shall we?
That sounds like a plan to me.
All right, stick around, guys. We'll be right back. We are back, folks. It is Geeked Out, Death Tower TV, and this is I don't know how long we've been talking here. We started this
about an hour.
Yeah, about an hour. We should be all right. Anyways, that's been a great show. Thank you for bringing all this good stuff in. This is some cool stuff. So real quick, I looked at this cover of Marauders, and it's okay. So we got Kitty Pryde, we got Iceman, Bishop, Emma Frost. Oh God, what's his name? Not Inferno, not Arson. What the heck is his name again? The flame dude.
Pyro.
Pyro. There you go.
Pyro.
And Storm, right?
Yeah, that's Storm.
Yeah, so it's a weird cast of characters. But then you go look at this.
Well, it's funny because it looks like they're on like a little pirate ship because you have the pirate.
Oh, and it's the Marauder.
So, and then of course you have Kitty. She's sitting there holding two blades.
You know who's missing from that? Nightcrawler. Because Nightcrawler's the swashbuckler. He would fit in with that.
He'd be a perfect pirate.
Yeah, he would fit in with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if you see, so if you guys look at this, the X-Men cover, there's something very distinct about this cover, and I don't know if you noticed. Anything in particular that you notice about?
Well, that's Cable.
Yeah.
Okay, you have Jean, you have Scott, you have Wolverine.
There's Havoc. You got Havoc up there.
Oh, there's Okay, yeah, Havoc. Not quite. I don't remember who that is.
That's Scott's dad. That's oh my God.
Is that Kitty?
No, that is the other daughter. The other Phoenix. Oh my God. Why am I drawing a blank on her name? Shame on me for being an X-Men fan. But basically, if you look at that cover,
there's no Xavier.
Well, yeah, but if you look at the cover, everybody on that cover, with the exception of Wolverine, is part of the Summers family.
Oh, okay.
So I want to take a peek in there later on and see what the book's about. But it's basically the Summers family.
Okay.
I mean, You got the brothers. Even so that one up here, that is Gabriel. That's the third brother that just came into. I don't know. Just came in like within the last 10 years. So yeah, everybody on this cover is part of the Summers family except for Wolvie. He's like he's the other point in the love triangle.
Well, but also I think part of it is because of the way the storyline ended with McTaggart and Wolvie.
Oh yeah.
So he's bringing something. He's bringing something to them. We'll see. But Jonathan Hickman's just he's not going to be able to just take it. He's set everything up. He's set the plot up. He's built his world. He's built his world now. Now we'll see how he plays in it.
You know what I'm afraid of is that Jonathan Hickman has done such a great job with this series that somebody's gonna eventually his run on the X-Men's gonna end, right? And then somebody's gonna come along and just totally
decide they're gonna completely change it.
Yeah. Either change it or just.
That's what they did to Chris.
Yeah. Either they're gonna change it or they're just gonna dump on the whole project and just not make a great
Go in
story.
A totally different direction.
Yeah. So.
I agree.
All right. Anyways, with that being said, that is it for our show, folks. Thanks for tuning in. This is Geeked Out Reptile TV. I'm your man JQ. This is Chandler.
Yo.
And we are out. Peace.
What's going on, guys? It's your man JQ, Geeked Out, right here on Reptile Radio. If you want to get more content from us, better make sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't know what you're missing.